name is Lyndon Chin. I work in the Department of Health and Human Services, and I've worked for the county for about 22 years since April of 1996.
My name is Moniz Hatsidi. I work for the Washington County Sheriff's Office as an AS2 in the Patrol Division, and I've been with the Washington County Sheriff's Office for just a little under a year.
My name is Eric Peretta. I am currently with the Juvenile Department, part of Custody Services. I've been with the Juvenile Department since February of 2014.
I'm Chinese American. I was born and raised in Portland. I'm actually a third generation Portlander. And on my mother's side, my mother, myself, my siblings, and my children were all born at the same hospital, actually, in Good Samaritan, Northwest Portland. And my father immigrated with his father from China when my father was only 12 years old.
I was born in Laos. It's a small country in Southeast Asia. My family moved here in the late 70s, and I've made Oregon my home.
So I'm bicultural. I am Pacific Islander from the island of Guam, and then also I am Caucasian on my mother's side. I was born in Northern California, but I grew up the vast majority of my life in Hillsboro, Oregon.
So as a young girl, my favorite superhero was Wonder Woman, and I want to be just like her. So her purpose in life is to protect the innocent, fight for peace, and restore love in the world. Her purpose is my passion, and law enforcement is a gateway in pursuing this passion.
And a lot of my family served in the military, public educators, and other services, counselors. And then I have another path of my family that was a lot of, labor workers, welders, pipe fitters, and like I said, I personally wanted to feel like I was making a positive impact, and I felt like I got that through public service. And then, even just looking at cultural influence of Guam in itself, Guam, in compared to other states, has the highest per capita with regards to enlistment for the military. It's a very small island, but yet that island is very willing to contribute to this country. And I definitely feel like that had an influence in my life and my decisions as I grew up.
Diversity to me, is variety, because the population is not just one type of people, one group of people. So it's diversity not only in the people that we serve, but also in the people that we work with and the employees of the county.
To me, diversity is a big melting pot of different backgrounds within an organization, a community, a department, a company, just various backgrounds, different religious beliefs, different orientations, so forth.
So diversity to me is a collection of backgrounds, values, experiences, and views.
I think the most challenging aspect is recognizing that diversity and figuring out how to respond to that. Because if you don't realize that diversity exists, then you can't serve that segment of the population.
So I feel that public service is an integral part of society. And when my family first moved here, we didn't have much, so we turned to public service for help. It was public service that integrated my family to this foreign land that we now call our home.
But growing up in Portland, I remember my mother telling me stories, my grandmother and my mother telling me stories about how it used to be in the area. There used to be, I remember my grandmother, her mother telling me one time a story about outside a restaurant or a bar, there used to be a sign in the window that said, no Chinese, no Irish, and no dogs. And then as times changed, it said no Chinese and no dogs. And then eventually just said no Chinese. And that was the norm. People accepted it.
I think you have to ultimately look at respect and have an understanding that we may not all agree with everyone's beliefs, but ultimately, if we can teach people to just respect one another, we can get past some of these obstacles that come in the way between different cultures and beliefs.
So I feel like stereotypes are from lack of knowledge. And in order to stop that behavior, we must educate the public about diversity and how to promote inclusion.
Well, I think the first thing you have to do is recognize that there are stereotypes and that everybody has personal bias of what they, how they act and how they treat people. And by recognizing that, that's the first step to overcoming it.
Well, I think it's important that we teach, I work with the juvenile department, and it's important that we teach how to be inclusive to the youth that we serve, because they're ultimately going to be the next generation that's going to push forward, and we need to make sure that if they were lacking inside, inclusive skills, we need to make sure that they can gain those skills so that they can be a much, greater impact and positive impact in our society in the future.
So I think the most challenging aspect of serving an increasingly diverse community is to gain and maintain the public's trust.
One of the most challenging aspects of serving a diverse community is that not all diversity and diverse cultures feel like they need your help per se. Some feel like they can do it on their own, or their culture has their own way of doing things, and sometimes it's a matter of informing them that there's a process, and sometimes we have to follow the guidelines that are within that process, and letting them know that I'm not the enemy, I'm here to actually help you, and as long as we can get them to trust us and realize that we are trying to help them in the long run, then we can get over that initial road bump with trust.
In the 22 years that I've been here at Washington County, the county has strived diligently to be more inclusive and to provide diversity training to the staff and to better serve the population and the communities that we serve.
Well, I think it's great that the county is, recognizing the different cultures, and we're coming together and celebrating everybody's culture, because we are a huge county and a very diverse county, and I think it's important that we all understand where we all come from, and I think our county does a good job of that, especially bringing up training opportunities and other things to just kind of make sure we're all on the same scale and understanding of where everyone comes from and how we can interact with diverse cultures and still maintain that level of respect with one another. I think it's something that our county has put a focus on, and I think that's something that is very important.
I've learned that we need to make it a point to actively listen to all voices and also to keep an open mind. Don't be afraid to share your perspectives and your experiences with others.